I'm Hal the Hot Dog Guy. This is Alex Espinosa, and this is the
Mark
creator
Anderson
of the
from
MLB.
Yeah,
Mark Anderson, the creator of MLB Cathedrals on Twitter. I'm sure. Are you on Instagram as well?
Yeah, I mean, I just started that up.
Okay, but mostly on Twitter, MLB Cathedrals, and we had to have him on just to talk about some MLB Cathedrals, right? But also
no more cathedral than the Coliseum, baby.
He's running a March Madness bracket. About the worst ballpark, and of course, the Oakland Coliseum was made it into the bracket.
They're into the second round, baby.
we're into the second round. Awesome. Yeah. So Mark, could you introduce yourself? Tell us about like why you love old stadiums. Where are you from? Yeah.
Okay, that's a great question. I've always been a history nerd.
Yeah.
I've always been a photography nerd.
Yeah.
I've always been an architecture nerd, and always I've been a huge baseball nerd. So what combines all those things more than the history of ballparks and stadiums and so at a young age, I'm going to date myself, but we didn't have the internet when I was a kid. We had the encyclopedia, World's Encyclopedia, and I remember just looking at and I just became fascinated. I grew up in the Kingdom, which was I hope it wins this thing. It's going to be probably in the Final Four of worst ballparks. But
the Kingdom.
Every time I saw when the Mariners would go visit Comiskey Park or Tiger Stadium, or saw a game at Wrigley Field, Wrigley, I was just blown away. Like that those are places that exist, and just doing my research and just fell in love with it and just became really knowledgeable on the subject for no reason, good reason, just a passion for it. And so one day I just decided, I'm going to share some of my knowledge on Twitter, thinking I'd find maybe 500 other fellow baseball nerds.
It's huge now. That count's huge, man.
Yeah, like 120,000, something like that.
Yeah.
So I love it. And I've learned things along the way, and there's a lot of ballpark history and baseball history, and just the way everything's evolved is pretty fun.
So you've been to, you grew up in Seattle area. You grew up in Seattle.
Right.
Going to the Kingdom. How many baseball stadiums have you been to?
I should know the exact number, right? About 23-ish, 24.
23.
Okay, do you want to hear the most pathetic part of this whole deal is I've been to pretty much growing up on the West Coast.
Yeah,
it's a lot different than the East Coast. I mean, you can spend all day and still be in California.
Yes.
Where on the East Coast, you're going through like 10 different states. So
yes, and
ballpark wise, if you're in Baltimore, you could be in Philadelphia, New York. Yes.
Boston,
like 10 Boston, all these other places within hours.
Yeah.
Whereas, you're in Seattle or Oakland, you're not driving to another ballpark for a day trip for sure. So, that's a slow. So anybody who's on the West Coast has a disadvantage as far as seeing
absolutely
all the stadiums and the ballparks. So I live on the East Coast now. But I still haven't made it up to the very northeast. So I haven't been to Fenway yet. I'm ashamed to admit that.
Well, Mark, you're in Savannah, right? Have you been to the Savannah Bananas games? What are those
Love
like?
It. Yeah. Love it.
They're going on a barnstorming tour this summer too. It should be cool. They're coming to San Jose. Yeah. So.
Right. I mean, it's huge because the story behind that is Savannah had the Sand Gnats. Right.
Yeah.
They were a single A, I believe, affiliate of the New York Mets, and the stadium that the Bananas and the Sand Gnats played at, Grayson Stadium, and was built in the 20s. It's in a neighborhood that's not as cool as it would be if it was downtown, even though it's fine. Right. Yeah. And it's 90 years freaking almost 100 years old. So the Sand Gnats wanted a new place to play, and just even if you can believe this now, a single A ballpark is still like 80 or 90 million dollars.
Wow.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Savannah said no. And so they moved to somewhere in North Carolina. Right. So the team, the Savannah Bananas, they're not even affiliated with any major league team. They're just a summer college,
They're summer college team.
all-star team, basically. And the Sand Gnats can draw anybody. Right.
Yeah.
You can't get a Bananas ticket.
Yeah. I
Yep.
heard. Yeah.
Because Jesse Cole, the owner, has figured it out. It's all about entertainment.
The A's got to
Right.
take it. The A's got to take a lesson from them.
The A's really do,
Fan
man.
experience. Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, if any place that I've ever ballpark I've been to is lively, I don't think there's a more lively, crazy crowd than I've seen in Oakland.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah. So tell us about your experience going to the Oakland Coliseum.
well, my first experience with there, I'm going to date myself again. Buddy and I had a summer college class that we had to take because to get a long story short, a prerequisite for to get out of school earlier. So I had to take a college class during the summer. And one of my best buddies is also in the class, and teacher shows up and says, "Hey, look, I can't teach this class." And we're like, "No, you're going to teach this class because we need this class to get to the next class so we can graduate." And so long story short, the TA said, "I'll teach the class, but I had this trip planned. See you guys in 10 days. So my buddy and I looked at each other and we said, road trip. So we ended up coming down to San Francisco, Oakland, and during college. And so this is before the Monster was built, Mount Davis.
Yeah, Mount Davis. Yeah, I've ruined it, man. Yeah.
Right. So that was my first experience at the Oakland. So I actually got to go to a game there before that monstrosity was built. And we'll talk about that a little more later, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But so yeah, that was my first experience. Loved it, and that was my second ballpark too. So me growing up in the Kingdom, you can imagine. To me, the Oakland Coliseum was like, I don't know, Disney World to a kid.
It was like sunny out. You can see the Oakland Hills, the blue sky.
You can see the beautiful Oakland Hills, grass. It was fantastic. So.
Whenever I think of the Kingdom, I just think of Mark McGwire hitting like the back wall.
There's a second deck. I was actually at that game.
Oh, you were there?
Yeah, I mean it's a huge shot. You'd have to. You can't even. The TV doesn't even show you how far away that was.
And then when they show him on, you see that video. He's like definitely on steroids at that point. He's huge.
Sure.
He is huge.
Yeah. So